couple of guys people are really interested in seeing Floyd fight, and Danny Garcia, good fighter, isn't one of them because no one really believes he has a chance to win.
feels that he should wait for the outcome of him and Thurman to really fight the best one.
Guys, we all know a good fighter from a special fighter, right? There are lots of good fighters in and around that division. Kell Brook's a good fighter. Sean Porter's a good fighter. Keith Thurman's a good. These are all good fighters. At welterweight, who's special?
Mayweather.
Who else? Of all the young, who else? Of all the young fighters?
Errol Spence.
But this is not like a mystery. You know what you see. You see Errol Spence. Does that look like everybody else, or does that look like something different? You see Terrence Crawford. Does that look like everybody else, or is that something extra? Terrence Crawford, special. Errol Spence is special. The other guys are dangerous fighters. You know, they have the right night, and another guy has an off night. They can pull off an upset, but it would be an upset.
From what you saw,
Special, or is he just good?
Remains to be seen. He's you know, it remains to be seen. At this moment, he's straddling that fence. He's going to need, I thought he looked really good against Cotto, but you do get a little suspicious about fighters, because this is also the history of boxing promotion, has been when you get a guy who's a big draw and who's good, but you're not sure if he's great. And he can punch, but he's not a spectacular puncher. Generally what promoters do, and this goes back to like Rocky Graziano and before Rocky Graziano, they put him in the middleweight with welterweights coming up. That way he looks a little bigger and stronger and he hits harder. And so far, Canelo's signature win was against Cotto, who really is a smaller guy. Although Canelo is fearless. He fought, who would want to fight Austin Trout and Erislandy Lara? If you're the money guy, you don't fight those two guys. What are you, crazy? Those are just the kind of guys who can beat you. And they were both close fights, but he won both of them. He's not afraid. But if you handle his career, you don't want to be stupid.
he was actually asked if he lost any credibility in his loss to Mayweather, and he said that he actually thought he didn't lose any because no one was able to beat Mayweather and even Pacquiao.
Yeah, Floyd took him to school.
Yeah.
And by the way, based
Did he lose
on
any credibility?
based on how Canelo does in the rest of his career, that will affect Floyd's rating all time eventually. If Canelo goes on to be an amazing Hall of Famer, then that win, even though it was pre-Canelo Prime, is still an amazing win because Floyd started at 130 pounds. He fought a guy who's really 154, 160 pounder at 22 years old. Not yet at his best, but still dangerous. So if Canelo goes on to do that, Floyd's stock historically rises. If Canelo turns out to be merely a good but not great fighter, that win doesn't quite look as good. This is the nature of boxing. It's not like even football where there are only 16 games in a season, but you get those 16 games every year to make an evaluation of teams, even before the playoffs. In boxing, we're trying to make these grand evaluations based on a guy fighting twice in a year, 3 times in 18 months. So there's just not a lot of data. You know, there's not a lot of evidence, and we have to extrapolate. Therefore, well, Canelo went on to do this and this. Well, what a win for Floyd, right? Oh, he wasn't as good. That win doesn't look as good as quite as good suddenly. You know, and that's just the nature of modern boxing.